Hey, what is up guys, MKBHD here, and I'm not using my main camera right now. My main camera is away from me for this entire week while it's being sent in to upgrade. So I'm gonna get that back next week, and a whole bunch of videos are due for when I get the camera back, but I wasn't gonna let that stop me from making a video, so this is a quick Ask Me video. I asked a bunch of questions, as I usually do on Twitter. We got some good ones. We'll answer it, not the main camera, but still crispy anyway. A friend and I are thinking about starting a tech channel. What are your recommendations for us?
Do it!
No, but seriously, the best way to get into something, especially if you're just getting started, is to just dive in head first. A lot of people worry too much about like the equipment or the production quality that you want to achieve with the very first videos you make. But honestly, the first videos of pretty much any channel, if you look backwards, including mine, are like terrible. So don't worry about the equipment you have to start with. Just use the smartphone or whatever you have and just do it. Are you on Snapchat? And if you are, what's your username? Yes, I am, and the username is MKBHD. So creative. Have you ever strived to make something better on your channel because of someone trolling you about something in your work? Maybe not trolling, but I definitely pay attention to the constructive criticism that I get, which is a benefit of having people who actually watch the videos I make. A lot of people have this like mentality of like, oh, just ignore the haters, they're just hating for no reason. But a lot of times there's a little nugget of truth in what you might think is just hate. And that actually can be the best criticism or feedback you can get to make stuff better. So again, maybe not trolling making the stuff better, but a lot of your comments affect the next video I make. What are you most excited to see at Apple's event? So I will be there. I'm actually flying out to the event the day after I upload this video, and a lot of the stuff we're expecting to see at the event is like, it's already been leaked. So a new Apple TV, we may see a new iPad Pro with a larger display, and of course we're definitely expecting to see the announcement of the new smartphones, so the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus, if that's what they keep naming it. And I'm excited to see the new cameras in these. Of course, the design of the S series always tends to be the same as the previous, so upgraded internals, exciting. But I really want to see how good the new cameras are. What are your feelings on the new Google logo? You know what, I actually like it. I think it's pretty clean, pretty simple. Obviously to the casual viewer, it just looks like the same exact text in a different font, and that's fine. What's funny is actually Verizon redid their logo like a couple of days later. I'm sure they were developing it and spending millions on it at the same time, but it's also a pretty simple, clean redesign with the smaller check mark. And I think it's fine, I like them. That doesn't mean, Verizon, that does not mean that I want to see it on any home buttons anytime soon. I'm just saying, I appreciate a crisp, clean logo. Explain the sport you play. All right, so Ultimate Frisbee is a team sport. It's sort of a combination of like soccer, basketball, maybe football, and a bunch of other stuff. So there are 7 on the field for each team at a time. You can throw off like football, sort of like a football kickoff, and then as you play, you pass it down the field to each other until you score in the end zone. You can run around freely during the point, but once you catch the disc, then you have to stop. You're not allowed to run with it, that's a travel, like basketball. But you can move and pivot until you throw, and then you can start running again. You have 10 seconds with the disc before you have to get rid of it, or else it's a turnover. And at a high level, these turnovers are a big deal, which is why you'll see players go up and over and around and fly everywhere to avoid turning it over, which makes it an awesome sport to watch, to play, and something that could be pretty dope in the Olympics. Why does the OnePlus 2 not have NFC? All right, so the official reason given by OnePlus is that people didn't use NFC in the OnePlus 1, so they just didn't include it. I mentioned in my full review video of the OnePlus 2 that I think that could have been included anyway. Maybe it would have cost $10 extra on the bill of materials to eventually have that in the final price, but I think OnePlus, as much as they don't like to admit it, is very focused on cost cutting, and they wanted to get that magical sub $400 price, so they decided not to include NFC, and it's also not able to be retrofitted later, so that's why it doesn't have it. What's your most favorite game of all time? I almost said NBA 2K, but it's actually Need for Speed Most Wanted. That game on PC, I made 1 or 2 gaming videos like ever on my channel, and one of them was just me playing that game. It was like in the middle of high school. That was one of the most fun games I've ever played. I think it's the best Need for Speed game ever made, and it was a lot of fun. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Why haven't you become a member of Vessel, and will you in the future? So Vessel, for those who don't know, is a platform for content creators, mostly YouTubers, to host their content exclusively for a while before they put it on YouTube. And they have it behind a paywall on Vessel, so they can be rewarded for that. I don't really have a reason to do that with my videos. I think most of them actually benefit from going directly to everyone for free, and I also benefit a lot from you guys commenting on the videos immediately, so it wouldn't really make sense for me. I don't think I'm gonna do that anytime soon. What would a smartphone look like if it were designed for a T-Rex? So it would probably like fit around their chest and would have like a support where it would be like 2 buttons on either side for their claws probably, and like, I don't know, it would probably be a pressure sensitive screen. The Nokia 3310 recently had its anniversary. What past piece of tech gives you the most nostalgic feeling? I have 2 answers for this. Number 1, the original Motorola Droid. That was a phone that I waited a long time to get when it first came out. The commercials for it, since I was on Verizon, were really tempting, and when I finally got it, I was pumped, and I made several videos about it. And the other thing, number 2, fun fact, the first piece of tech that I ever really got, that I bought with my own money, was the first generation iPod Touch. And this was before I had a YouTube channel. I wanted to unbox it. I was gonna go through and set it up and customize it in all sorts of ways, jailbreak it. And then the next day at school, it got stolen. So that never happened. That's not really a fun fact. Why hasn't Apple implemented touchscreens in all their Macs? Honestly, it's mostly because macOS 10 is not finger friendly. It's not touchscreen built. That's why iPads all run iOS and not macOS 10. And honestly, if you think about it, if you think of like an iMac right now, if it was touchscreen enabled, you just have this big, glossy, fingerprint covered, wobbly screen on a hinge. I just feel like that wouldn't be comfortable to type on or use anyway, so I don't expect that anytime soon. What are your thoughts on the Xperia Z5 Premium? All right, so just to get it out the way, I know that it's been a while since I've made a video about a Sony smartphone, but this is going to be the one to change that for sure. The Sony Xperia Z5 has 3 variants: the compact, the regular Z5, and the Z5 Premium. And the Premium, if you haven't heard, has a bunch of new things about it, new materials, a new back, a new camera, but it also has a 4K display. I called it. I said later, like in this year, we would see a 4K display on a smartphone, and we're seeing it already. Yeah, I want to see it, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I want to review it. I want to compare it to other Quad HD displays and all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, Sony, if you're listening to this, when is your setup tour 2015? All right, so there's always a lot of questions about when's the next setup tour happening. I usually say that the next setup tour will happen when there's a new setup. So this setup is the same as it was in the last setup tour, but when I do move or when I change places like I've said I would previously, that is when I'm gonna be making a new setup tour video. So that's that. Are you worried about OKC taking out your Clippers next season? You know what, I'm honestly not. And the thing is, I realize that Oklahoma City is gonna have a healthy Russell Westbrook and a healthy Kevin Durant for this upcoming season. And that's one of the hardest hitting 1-2 punches in basketball. But the reason why the Clippers were basically doomed to failure at some point last season is because they weren't deep. They had a great starting 5, but then their bench tapered off really quickly. And I see the same problem for Oklahoma City. Their starting 5 is going to be great, but the Clippers have a massive bench now this year. They built up in an A+ offseason, I would say. And I think this is the year, if any, for the Clippers to at least go to the finals. What drove you to get into the whole YouTube thing? Well, for me, I've always been into tech basically as long as I can remember. And the other thing is, I have this memory of like running around the house with a camcorder. This is a long time ago, with like a camcorder, taking random videos of things and then watching back the videos that I made and just being like, damn, that's cool that I could like see what I just made, even though it was a tape recorder and I couldn't edit it or anything. But I've always been into video for that reason too. So video, tech video, YouTube tech channel, just kind of worked out. Do you miss having a face? You know what? I didn't think we were going to talk about this, man.